and welcome back to Mining Networks. I'm joined with Michael Rowley, who is CEO of Stillwater Critical Minerals. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let's just start by getting a nice overview of the company.
Sure. We picked up this asset in 2017. We quickly recognized the Plat Reef parallels with this very large district in South Africa, part of the Bushveld complex. And we've been advancing that ever since. We have a world-class team. We debuted a very robust resource last year, our first, and we're well on our way to expanding that later this year.
That's brilliant. So run us through your current capital structure. So market cap, share structure, cash in the bank, that sort of thing.
Sure. 35 million Canadian market cap, about 177 million shares out. We're sitting on about 3 million right now in cash and cash equivalents, and that's a very nice place to be given the markets and what they're like right now. We do not need to raise money at these prices. Yeah, with the news flow that we have and the resource coming, we feel good about our ability to push the price up from here.
Brilliant. So you mentioned a little bit initially about your team. So you've got quite a expertise in leadership. So talk me through how that kind of helps. And obviously they've got a track record of acquiring major projects. So let's hear a bit about that.
Sure. Yeah, myself, I founded the company actually, and I have a long history in progressive mining thinking, environmental mining, and then also exploration since 2002. Greg Johnson is worth noting as our chair. He was a co-founder of NovaGold. He saw that from 10 cents a share to 2 billion in market cap. And that NovaGold model is what we're applying here. District scale acquisition during a bear market, build it out into a better market, bring some new thinking in, and ultimately look for a deal with a major.
Brilliant.
We've also added Gordon Toll to the board earlier this year. He brings a terrific network and a history of building very large mines. And most recently, April of this year, we brought Danny Grobler over from Ivanhoe and their Plat Reef mine. He was chief geologist there, and he joined as our vice president of exploration. And you'll hear the Plat Reef word come up a lot in our work. That's our geologic parallel in South Africa, and that's why it's so relevant to bring that expertise in at this point.
Oh, brilliant. Sounds like quite the team. And I also saw that you're part of the Metallic Group. Could you talk me through that partnership and the advantages of that?
Absolutely. Metallic Group is 3 public companies, Stillwater, Metallic Minerals, and Granite Creek Copper. We collaborate, we share an office, we share costs, but most of all we share the team and the back office team. It gives us access to technical services, consultants that we might not otherwise have. And then, of course, we work together on a bunch of initiatives, such as this show.
Let's now get onto your properties. So you've got a few district-scale properties. So talk me through them and which one's the flagship.
The flagship is the most recent addition, being Stillwater. When that one came in, it's fantastic. It's rare for a junior to share such iconic district with a major. It's us and Sibanye Stillwater. Sibanye, of course, bought the Stillwater mines for $2.2 billion in 2017 while we were making this acquisition. It's a rare and beautiful thing. The Rocks Stillwater District, Stillwater Igneous Complex, is one of the largest layered magmatic systems in the world. It's the richest by far in the Western Hemisphere. 100 million ounces of the highest grade PGEs being mined by our neighbor. Also, nickel copper was mined for chrome in the war years. And our ground was mined for copper and nickel 100 years ago, in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So really, we're bringing a third wave of critical mineral supply to the Stillwater District. That's the pitch in a nutshell. We're doing that at a time when the U.S. government is looking to secure domestic supplies of 8 of our minerals as part of a broader list of, I think, 4 dozen now. And they're releasing unprecedented support, including cash, to fund that effort. So it's an exciting time to be chasing this project out in Montana. We also have a large gold position in Ontario. We've sold that to Heritage Mining. They just completed the first year anniversary of that deal. They've done great work on the ground and paid us the cash and shares, and they're on their way. And we're happy to have that exposure to the gold space. Their ticker is HML on the CSE. We have a district scale nickel copper PGE project in the Yukon as well, the Kewaunee project. And that's one that we're currently in some discussion towards monetizing similarly to how we monetize the Ontario project.
Excellent. So going back to the flagship, let's focus there. So obviously you've got significant majors in the area, obviously with producing mines. Is there potential there for some of your feedstock to, go through their mines or, potentially to be acquired there? Could you talk me through that a little bit?
Absolutely. Sibanye has said they're looking for battery metals acquisitions in the first world, in North America. And we have a lot more nickel and copper to offer than they now have. They currently do produce nickel and copper. They don't really report how much. So their operations could definitely be relevant to this. They operate 3 mines on that one deposit and also a smelter refinery recycling complex. We would propose a much bigger operation. We're a bulk mining operation, very much of the type that Ivanhoe is advancing at their Plat Reef deposit. Sibanye would be wonderful partners to work with in advancing this project. It really does look too big for us. We ultimately will need to go there when we get the right offer. So far, we have 5 deposits across 9 kilometers. They look like they want to connect. And in fact, the whole 32-kilometer strike of the project looks mineralized. It's all the same magmas as the JM Reef deposit now being mined by Sibanye. It's all laid down 2.7 billion years ago. There's a lot going on here, and we can grow this in 100-meter step outs for some time, is our opinion.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And last year you released 43101. Could you talk me through the numbers of that estimate?
Sure, yeah. The 1.1 billion pounds of nickel, copper, and cobalt makes it the biggest cobalt resource in the U.S. and a significant addition of nickel to the U.S. inventory. And then 2.4 million ounces in addition of palladium, platinum, rhodium, and gold on top of that. What's nice about those deposit models is you apply higher grade cutoffs. The deposit size, of course, shrinks, but the grades come up nicely. So we see good continuity there in the models, and that gives good optionality on mine method. These could be bulk mining, this could be underground bulk mining, this could perhaps be a selective operation. We don't know yet. We're happy to keep growing it for now, but it's nice to have that optionality.
And you mentioned about the geology there and that you've got 5 deposits that potentially will join up. So obviously you said that you are hoping to release an updated estimate any day now. And so talk me through the work you've done this year to kind of get there. And is there potential for those deposits to show a kind of trend? Are they, all related to one another, do you think?
They're definitely related. In our web deck, you'll find a very lovely image with our induced polarization survey results across the 12-kilometer core of the project. Conductivity in blue, chargeability in pink. Looks like very large bodies of sulfide mineralization, spanning kilometers, reaching down 800 meters. Our current deposits are set within those very nicely, and that's why I say it looks like they want to connect. So expansion is the name of the game. We drilled 14 holes that are not included in that 2021 resource, and that's what we're bringing in now to the models. The viewing public will see rhodium assay results on that drill core in the coming weeks here. It's the final piece before the models are done. Late this year, very early January, we'll get that new resource out. We've laid the basis for it in news releases. You can kind of see how much we think we've added. It's actually spelled out in the images there with the big step outs that we're doing. We're feeling pretty good about that.
Exciting things. So let's go. Obviously, nickel is one of the main products here. So talking through the nickel demand, obviously it's a critical metal. What is the demand versus supply, and how does that look like over the next decade?
Physical supplies of nickel are at a multi-year low. I'm tempted to say a 10-year low, but I don't actually. It's something like that. And that's maybe what makes these companies so compelling. We're at a low share price right now due to broader market conditions, but the commodities that we're chasing, physical inventory is very low. Demand, of course, soaring, driven by electric vehicle use. And I've talked to 3 people here at the show who have just recently bought electric vehicles. So that's accelerating quickly. EVs need very clean nickel. 2/3 of the world's nickel comes from laterite ores, mostly in Indonesia, New Caledonia, and processed by China using comparatively very dirty processing, this high pressure acid leach processing. It's much cleaner to mine nickel to first world standards and from nickel sulfide, which cleans much more easily to that high grade nickel needed for batteries. So that's the nickel market in a nutshell. It's environmentally beneficial to have the cleanest possible nickel and to mine it by first world standards. Similar for cobalt. It's worthwhile to mine that by first world standards.
Another high percentage product you have is palladium, and obviously Russia has a large percentage of that, and also South Africa. What's your view on kind of the supply chain there and the vulnerability around it?
Oh, it's fascinating, isn't it? With Russian being the world's biggest supplier, as you mentioned, suddenly coming offline. Yeah, the district that we're in is known for palladium. The mines beside us have 12 grams per ton of it in a 100 million ounce deposit, including past production. A staggering wealth of palladium and platinum. We have it, but those metals are about 1/3 of our value split on our resource. 2/3 is battery metals, 1/3 precious metals, including palladium. It's number 2 on our list. I think nickel is number 1, about 42%, palladium 20% of our value. We're very glad to have that in the US. We are trying to get the investing world to recognize that we're battery metals first, PGEs second.
You've said it on camera now, so hopefully they will. So talk me through, over the past 12 months as a company, what are you most proud of?
The Stillwater project continues to surprise and amaze us. And the first resource was a good foundation. The second, the expansion is going to be even better. To be on site this summer with Danny Grobler, Albie Britz from Ivanhoe, with their collective 40 years experience, and then our team in Montana, collectively 40 years in that district, and watching the sparks fly as they came together, and we spent a few months there going through the core. That was so much fun. It really was. That's a high point for me. The project just continues to deliver. The location, this is a producing district in the US. You can actually build a mine here. The current mines are expanding. Our ground is produced historically, and we have exactly what America is looking for at a time when they're looking at funding it, which we did not expect 3 years ago.
For investors over the next 12 months, obviously we've got the resource estimate hopefully coming up, the updated one, but is there any other key milestone they can look out for?
Today we just announced that Heritage Mining completed their payments and did their work. That was brilliant. That was cash as well appreciated in this market. Next is likely to be those rhodium drill results, which will let us retell the broader view on this. I mean, how many projects have percent level nickel across 9 kilometers? This gives us a chance to update the models and show something. Then it's the updated resource, and that's on track. That was an objective for this year, and that looks good for December, very early January. Into the new year, roll out that Platte Reef model. We're fully integrating that Platte Reef thinking into our existing geologic models, and that will bear fruit through the new year, along with exploration results from 2022 programs. We did work in a number of areas. We did a gravity survey that will continue to light the way. It should be fun. Also, non-core assets. At some point, we'll see the right deal on the Kluane project, and that will monetize that at the right time.
What's your vision over the next 5 years? If you could have it go exactly how you want it to go, what's the end goal here?
Well, this is probably a deal with a major for this one, frankly. I mean, there's a chance that Elon Musk or Ford or Volkswagen, GM will want to work directly with us to develop a mine. Less likely, not impossible. And with our team, with the board that we have, we certainly could work with that. It's more likely that one of these majors makes a deal. We have majors under NDA. We've had offers, but they haven't been the type that really give a lot of value. We're basically reluctant to put a number on this asset yet because it wants to grow. And if we retain 100% of it and keep growing it the way we are, we can realize that value until the market catches up with us effectively. So at the right time, yeah, it would be the time to engage a bigger party. Whether that's our neighbor, one of the other majors globally, we'll see.
Some exciting prospects there, but thank you so much for your time today, Michael. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Pleasure. Yeah.